Speaking of, has what's her name messaged you? Andres? Yes.
Ashley. Yeah, I know about Ashley. I have her number too.
You have her number?
I have her number. I could add her on Snapchat. I just haven't added her. Because I don't know how serious this is going to be. Which is probably not.
But
so
he
I'm like, I don't want to
misses
add
her.
her and all that.
Oh, I did not tell her.
You
I did not.
missed her?
So that night.
I like your new French form.
I think I like your nose.
I think I'm in love with you.
What? You love me?
I can't believe I said that. Why did I say that? Who says that?
You love me?
Okay. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Rap,
And I'm Tam.
and welcome to episode 6 of
The
Blah Blah Mary.
Blah
Oh, yeah, that's you.
You guys fucked it.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so anyway, today is a very special episode
Why do you say that, Rap?
because we have our first guest.
We do.
Yeah.
So excited. So why
I
don't you tell
know.
us who she is?
Okay, so I know this person very well. I've known her practically all of my life, all of her life, practically. Her name is Becky. Becky with the good hair, if you will. And we're just going to be talking about like some of the stuff that she's been going through in her relationship.
Relationships.
Ships, if you want to call them that. Yeah. And yeah, so, you know, we're going to be talking about divorce rates and the millennials. Are they up? Are they down? You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, because we've been talking a lot about different things that come into the mix whenever we start dating our age, like past 30 years old. Like there's all these other things that come into it. Divorce, kids, yeah, all kinds of stuff. So glad to have her on so she can kind of give us some wisdom on one of our topics, I guess.
Yeah, because out of the three of us, she's the only one that's married.
Yep.
With a kid and a dog
Oh, and a dog.
And a cat.
and a cat.
Animals are important. They're just as important for millennials.
Exactly.
So, Becky, nice to meet you. He's talked about you quite a bit. So, I'm really glad that you're able to be on with us and kind of share some wisdom. Because, you know, Rap and I have been saying, too, that we don't know everything at all. And so, we're glad to have other people on who can share some light on some different things. So, thank you for being here and for sharing with us. Super glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm kind of excited. Kind of never been on a podcast before, so let's see how this goes.
Sounds good. So why don't you kind of lean me into, I guess, how you and Rap met, like what y'all's friendship looks like, and then because like I've never met you except for today, so I'm kind of interested to see like what y'all's friendship looks like and all that, and then kind of we'll just kind of go from there.
So like in our religion, we don't really have like godparents, but they're technically kind of like my godparents. So
Okay.
my godmother, he's my godmother's nephew, and we just grew up together. He's known me. We went to the same elementary, middle school. I left high school, but he went to the same high school.
So you're
Like it was
Adventist
K through
too?
12. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's just known me since I was like, what, like
I think
6?
something like that, yeah.
Something, yeah.
And the reason why we grew kind of close is because her parents were working a lot when she was younger. And my uncle was her teacher / principal. And he would stay late to take care of
Yeah,
Becky.
like after school, like I would just either go to like my godparents' house, and they lived like Rap lived next to my godparents, so we
Okay.
would just hang out a lot.
And like he doesn't have siblings, so
No, I'm
I'm
an only
sure.
child.
Yeah, so you're pretty much like a sister to him, or what would be a sister, I guess, because he doesn't have any siblings of his own. So you're like the adopted sister.
Exactly, and it's funny because like when people like when we go to like a bar or whatnot, and then we say like, "Oh, that's my brother, that's my sister," like they're like, "Oh, I see the resemblance." And it's like funny because we're not even blood related.
No. And you're not even Mexican either.
No, I am not Mexican.
That's so funny. Well, because
Yeah.
they say you start to look like the people you hang out with, so it's probably like
That's
one
true.
of those
That's probably
things
what
too.
happened. Yeah.
That is funny.
I think it's just our demeanor. We're like very much alike. So
That is
yeah, we
very
have the
true.
same humor.
awesome.
Yeah.
So you're going to be on here talking to us today about one of the topics, like we were saying, and it being the big D. The big D being divorce, because
I was just about to ask you what the big D
yeah,
was.
being
I was
divorced.
gonna say,
Definitely
I know a lot of big D's.
not that one. We'll talk. We'll save that one from another time, maybe. But talking about divorce, because you know, as Rap and I went through like the content for this, we were saying that we both knew, like, we had friends, multiple friends that were divorced already, and so for us thinking that that's part of like the dating culture now, that's going to be something else that someone can bring into a relationship, that's not just this is where I'm from, this is my expectations. It's like this is a whole other relationship and something else that I've had with somebody that's coming. Basically, you're like, you know, bringing it in. I don't want to say baggage, because you hope to have moved on from something like that, right? But to be bringing it. And so you're actually going through a divorce right now, right?
Yeah, I'm going through a divorce. It's been kind of not as bad as I thought it would be.
Okay.
But it's still like I wouldn't say the beginning stages. I would say like middle stage
Okay.
at this time. So it's complicated. Obviously, all divorces
Sure.
are complicated. But
This one especially complicated.
yeah, like other than like we both have like a kid, right? But it's just
So you guys have a kid together.
we have a kid together.
Okay.
So I guess backstory, how we met was I was in Cancun for spring break and he was staying at the same resort I was. We talked for a little bit, but then he stopped talking to me because he had a girlfriend, and I was like, "You're from Scotland. I'm from Texas. Like this."
Oh gosh, he's
like,
from, so he's from Scotland. He's not even from like this continent.
no, he's from Scotland.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
so like our story is really, really, really cute, but
Okay.
Very cute.
So, and so he got a girlfriend, and I stopped talking to him because he gave me the cold shoulder. I was like, all you had to do is tell me you had a girlfriend. And I'd be like, fine. Like, understandably, like, you're from Scotland, I'm from Texas.
Sure.
This ain't really going anywhere, whatever. So I do a Euro trip with my best friend, and our first destination is Amsterdam because weed, right?
Yeah.
And so we decided to stay there. Like, our original plan was like stay there like a Wednesday through a Friday, but we decided we liked Amsterdam so much we decided to stay for the weekend. And he has my best friend on social media too, because she was there in Cancun also when we met and whatnot. And she posted everything on social media. I don't, unless you have me on Snapchat, I really don't really post much on like Facebook or whatnot. And she posted that we were in Amsterdam, and he was like, "Oh, are you in Amsterdam?" Like, it was Friday when he messaged me. He was like, "Are you in Amsterdam this weekend? I'm there." They call it a stag do, but it's a bachelor's party. And I was like, funny enough, we decided to book our hostel for another 3 days because we liked Amsterdam so much. Met again in Amsterdam. How weird is it that we meet in two different parts of the world without planning, whatever. Our story is really cute. I did a lot of travel
y'all,
training
like,
for work.
Hung out and all that weekend.
Yeah.
Y'all met up. Okay.
Yeah, we met up, like we hung out, and then I didn't really, after like a few stops, like I knew I wanted to go London and Dublin and a few like other places in Europe. I knew I had like 6 more weeks of, I don't know what, like it was just like whatever's the cheapest flight or the cheapest train or whatever. And I decided to go to Scotland because my best friend also like met someone from Scotland.
Okay.
Had a really great
That's
dick,
ironically.
apparently. So she was like, "We're going to Edinburgh," and I was like, "I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go hang out." But so he came. He's not from Edinburgh. He's from Aberdeen. But he went down to Edinburgh, and he was like, so we met again, but that was planned. And then I was like, I really don't have plans, so I'm gonna go to Aberdeen and see what the heck your city is about. And I got surprisingly, like hotels over there, like a 4-star is like $80 a night.
That's not bad.
Interesting.
It's fucking it's really fucking great. And I was like, holy shit. And the hotel I was staying at has a like bar/restaurant on the first floor, and so he like comes up with Guinness, which I recently fell in love because of Ireland. And he was like, drink up because my parents are downstairs. And I was like, holy
Oh my
shit.
gosh.
Nice.
Right. Yeah. And I was
that's
like,
only the second, third time you've seen him.
exactly.
And he-
you know, and
oh my
I was
gosh,
like,
okay.
okay. And so I drink like 2 Guinnesses. Like I just shotgun it. Like, so, and I go downstairs and like his parents are really cool and they're really nice and they're really awesome. And I guess from there, like we decided to do this long distance thing. And I did a lot of travel training for my job. I'm a scribe. And they were opening a lot of these sites. And so like I could go, like also the flexibility of my job, I could go over there for 2 weeks and then they have better like employee rights in the UK. So we saw each other at least every 6 weeks. The longest we've gone without seeing each other is 5 months.
Oh, wow.
And I was at Vegas at the time. And so, but we were together for like almost a year when I was in Vegas. And
Like you were working in Vegas?
yeah, when I was in Vegas for like 3 months and I was
Okay.
working in Vegas and I felt like long distance, I felt like it was really great because I like my independence. Like, yes, like rap is like my brother, but I'm basically an only child and I like my independence, being alone. And
Sure.
I've just been so used to being alone. And so, but 5 months, like without seeing him, like I was like, I'm gonna need some sexual healing. And
That's
so
a long time, 5 months.
It is a long time.
it is.
And if you're trying to be like faithful and, you know, committed and everything.
Granted, like I'm a workaholic. Like I worked a lot. And so, but it's Vegas.
Exactly. Sin
And so,
City.
exactly. And so I did meet this guy. I don't talk to him anymore. But like intellectually, like we connected and stuff happened and whatnot. And then I went home for like 5 days and then I went to Tucson and Scott, guy from Scotland, came to Tucson and like ironically the Las Vegas guy is originally from Tucson and he was moving back to Tucson. So again, my whole story is a real it should be a reality TV show.
I'm telling you.
It's sounding like it so far.
Oh my gosh. So, and it's my birthday around the time. And so Las Vegas guy was like, hey, like, since he moved already back to Tucson by the time, like, I got to Tucson. And he was like, hey, like, I know some places to take you. Like, we weren't, like, romantically involved. Obviously, it was just, like, sexual, like, and he was a cool friend. And Scott was like, oh, I'm down to meet him. And I was like, yeah, he's real cool.
Did you know that y'all had done?
No,
Okay.
not until like the day of my birthday.
Oh, that's a nice time frame.
Oh my gosh, it was like the worst. That's not the worst birthday. It was just so awkward. But he went through my phone, and I was like, "Don't go through my phone."
Yeah.
And so he went through my phone, but he found out, and then he was like really super pissed, which understandably, like. But he was also like, I can't blame you. It was 5 months.
5 months, exactly.
Exactly. So he was understandable. And then he was like, but I'm not going to meet him. And I was like, all right. So he's not going to go to my birthday plans, whatever.
Sure.
And I got really trashed. Like, I drank a bottle of wine by myself before we went to dinner.
God damn.
And then I had alcohol at dinner. And then we went to a bar that was karaoke night. And I get real trashed on karaoke night.
Yeah.
And that's where Charlie was created.
Who's Charlie?
Yeah, I was like,
That's- That's my daughter.
oh, okay, Charlie.
Yeah.
That's a cute name.
Yeah. Let's say Charlie.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And well, so
So y'all
mean-
are still long distance dating at this point. Y'all are
No,
not like
No,
engaged or anything.
yeah, no, we're long distance dating. Like
Okay.
it's 3 months, not 3 months, 3 weeks after like he already left at that time. Like he went back to Scotland. And I'm pretty like regular with my period. And I was like, why am I late? And I was like, oh shit. You know, and so again, another backstory. My sister, she's my like half sister, legit blood sister. She was at the time 40. She just had her first child, like born at 25 weeks, like NICU and everything, all that stuff. She's struggling to have a child, right? And here am I, like just turned 24, like pregnant, and I'm like, oh, like, you know, and there's this whole like, do I keep it or not? Like, why not? And it's like, I'm like, there's no excuse because I have a degree, I have a career, I'm fine. I should be able to keep her. Like, honestly,
Yeah, totally.
like my sister should have like adopted her, like, because she wants a sibling for her daughter, right? And so, and Scott was like real about family and stuff. So he was like, I told him like, I'm pregnant, I'm gonna keep it, like, and then he was like, well, I'm moving to America, and I was like, oh god, and yeah, I was like,
It went from 0 to 100 real quick,
right? And then I was like, you know, like I really like him, like I want to say I love him, like, but so I'm pregnant. Christmas comes by. I go over to Scotland for Christmas, and we tell like his parents, and they're all ecstatic, and everyone's ecstatic except me, because I'm here like, oh man, like, like, and honestly, my dad being like the Seventh-day Adventist, and like I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a shotgun wedding,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And he meets my parents. Like, he's already met my parents before and like whatnot, but this is like this is legit now. And I'm here like, I'm only 24.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
It was a lot all at once.
Yeah, it was a lot really fast. He like told his job that he's already gonna leave, and then come like in March he like moved here, and we had to get married for him to stay again. The whole like immigration
Did y'all
thing.
do like a 90-day fiance visa?
Oh, come on.
No, we did not. We did not because
That's my favorite show on TLC right now. It's a 90-day fiance. They bring them over on a special visa, and they've got to get married in 90 days for them to stay.
No.
we like
Literally, I'm
entertained
about
that
like
idea.
geeking out right now because I'm excited that that's what you actually did.
No, we did not, because it was
Okay.
faster if he got here and got married. So when he bought
Okay.
his flight over here, he had a return ticket, but the whole plan was he was actually going to return.
I see.
And so because we were thinking about that, we spoke to an immigration lawyer, and they were like, look, like, because of the short time, it takes like a year before the 90-day visa. Like, then he wouldn't be here for the birth of his child. You know, if he wanted to come here for a short visit, they're like, well, you applied for, I think it's a K1
The
visa.
K1 visa. Yes.
Yeah.
Know all about it.
Yeah, I
I
know
could be an
that.
immigration lawyer now after watching this show.
Exactly. So they were like, if they see that he's applied for a K1 visa, chances are he's going to stay. We're not going to let him in until he gets his K1 visa. It's going to take a whole year. So he wasn't going to be here for the birth of his child.
Sure.
So we just like, you know what? Let him come here. And so we got married, ironically, on like the same day as my parents got married, but we didn't
Oh, really?
know
I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't until like our 1 year anniversary where I was like, it's our 1 year anniversary. And my parents were like, oh, really? It's our like, how old are you? And I'm like, I'm 25 now. And they're like, oh, it's our 25th anniversary. Yeah, you know, and I was like, oh, wow.
That's funny.
You know, and so we got married. But thing is, like, long distance, like, we never lived together other than 2 weeks at a time. Obviously, within that 2 weeks, we had a lot of sex.
And that's all you
We went on a lot of dates. Like, we made the most out of
Y'all
2
had
weeks
like
at a
the
time.
honeymoon phase every time you saw each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he comes here, and we come from different, like, I guess, social statuses. Like, my parents are like I don't know, I guess the Hilton of
of
South Texas.
Westaco,
Yeah,
South Texas. Yeah.
And so, like, my parents have like 10,000 square foot house, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, and where he's not poor, but he comes from like a middle class family.
So more like a working
And-
class, like
Yeah.
middle,
Like, his mom
got it.
works at like a Dillard's type place, and his dad works
Sure.
in the oil. And so, like, this different class, and I just never like thought about that. Like, yes, I might be a spoiled bitch at times, but no one knows that my family has money until they come to my parents' house. Because I own
No, you
brand
don't.
designer
You
shit?
really don't like. Yeah.
no, like, I really don't care.
not
I'm
a
like,
show-off,
I
you're not.
shop at Ross. Like,
yeah. That's because Ross has great prices.
exactly, you know. And so
Like, he drove a Camry for the longest time. A used Camry.
I loved that Camry. Still love it. But so that's that whole situation, and he got here, and I knew he was gonna be depressed and like homesick for a while.
Yeah.
But
That's
it was-
understandable.
I was gonna say totally understandable because it's totally different.
Exactly.
Totally
Culture shock
different.
and everything.
Culture shock. You're away from your family. Like you don't have any friends. And then I'm sure for you, different too, because he's probably leaning on you for a lot of stuff, right? Like, cause
Oh, you have no idea.
yeah.
So he it's been like a year. So
So when was all? So yeah, let's get back to like time frame, I guess. So y'all got married within. Y'all did.
I got pregnant in October, and we got married in March.
Okay. Wow.
And yeah, so it was really fast,
Yeah.
And then she was born in July, and we went to Vegas in November because his sister was there for her 40th birthday and whatnot. He got so shit faced. Mind you, we live on a road called Eastgate,
Nice.
and the hotel we were staying at is called Eastgate. But he got so drunk, security went to him and was like, where do you stay? And he was like, he couldn't remember. And the security was like, you either go to jail or you go to the hospital. I work at an ER, and I make fun of all the drunk people that go to the ER. Like, this is going to be a $3,000 hangover,
Yeah.
right? And he was that patient that I make fun of.
Nice.
And I was super pissed. Like,
I
I
know
was
the
in the
story.
hotel. I get a call from the hotel phone, and this is some hospital. I can't even remember. ER, your husband is really intoxicated. And I was like, wow. And I
This
was
was-
super.
Y'all had only been married for a few months
Not-
at this point.
Yeah, 6 months. at
like,
this
and
point.
y'all have already had a baby and all
Yeah.
that in this time frame. Okay.
Exactly. And so I was super pissed, but I was like, it's not worth getting mad. My thing is am I getting mad about this an hour from now or 3 hours from now or the next 3 days?
Yeah.
Yes or no. It depends on how pissed I'm going to get. Still this day, I'm pretty pissed because it was $3,000, and I just paid for a baby.
Yeah.
It
It's a
was just
lot.
really, yeah. But I get it. Like he would drink alone, like at home a lot, like play video games because that's how he would talk to his friends till 2, 3 in the morning because of time difference and all that stuff. And I would try to understand, but after 6 months, a year, I was seriously, get your shit together.
So was he not working or anything during
So
this
he
time?
didn't get his green card till the end of December.
Okay. So he really
And-
couldn't work until he had the green card.
No.
Okay.
No. And so I understood, but she was born in July, so he was kind of the stay-at-home dad, which is fine. I was dry as a Sahara Desert and couldn't breastfeed her. So, and I went back to work 2 weeks postpartum.
Oh my
Workaholic.
gosh.
Yeah. And that's what happened. And then he got his green card, but he was like, I don't know what to do.
What did
And
you
I
do
would-
when he was in Scotland? Did he have a game plan? I guess that's where my question is. If he had a job over there, obviously, right? You got to live. You have to work to live at some point. So, what was his plan coming over here? Was it, I'll
He
just
did
see what happens?
HR work
Yeah.
over there,
Or-
right?
Yeah, he was HR at a college, and so he worked with a lot of people. He was the only male in HR.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
because only Linda's in HR. Only Linda's
Exactly.
working HR.
He has a coworker called Linda, so that's really funny.
Have y'all seen Kimmy Schmidt, that Netflix?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
Titus. That's what he was like. The baby's name is Linda. Who names a baby Linda? Linda's only working HR. Anyway, sorry. Side note.
Exactly. Oh, I love that show. And so I guess what should have been a red flag for me, yes, I have a lot of guy friends. I also have some girlfriends. I relate to guys a lot because I'm not judgmental. I'm pretty open-minded. Rap knows, I'm basically a guy with a vagina.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day too.
So he comes over, he's depressed, and I'm trying to hey, you have the financial support. You have my parents are really in support. Whatever you want to do, what do you want to do? And he was like, I don't know, physical therapy. Is okay, he has a degree.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, okay, but you need to get a master's.
You have to, go back to school
and
do some stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. He's
Yeah.
like, well, before I go all out, let me do physical therapy assistant. And down here in the community college, they have a program like that, and I'm like, my dad's a medical director of that, like, and
He had
the connections and the financials, but he wouldn't do anything. I had to message the counselor and be like, what's the steps?
So he wasn't getting off his ass and like doing all the research.
No,
so
I had to do it all for him. And I got
see.
everything. I got the whole like track. Like he had to take some prerequisites, but it's okay. He got scared. Didn't do it.
Interesting.
And we have a bunch of companies, and I'm like, you know what? You do the bookkeeping, you do all that. And he was also scared. And it's like, don't be scared, because in bookkeeping, at the end when you reconcile and whatever, we'll catch your mistakes. Like, and then you just learn from there. Like we all didn't know in the beginning, and again, he's just really hard on himself, and that like to the point where I was like frustrated. Any solution I gave him, he gave an excuse, and I was like, fuck it. Like, I got to move on with my life. You can't hold me back. I got like
Plus you're still
7. Yeah,
young.
I have like 7 companies to take care of. It's not just about me. I have like 80 plus employees that depend on this job, and I can't let it sink, and I can't let you hold me back.
Yeah. So how old is he, by the way?
He is 28. I'm 25
Got it.
now.
Okay.
And then I own an ambulance company, and I work with, in the EMS world, is a lot of males. And
usually if you're a paramedic, you're usually a firefighter.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Yeah, 80% of my employees are firefighters. And that's where I met Xavier.
Okay. So there's another guy that's come into the mix then. So,
Exactly.
Okay. And so this is like already, so you're going through the process of divorce. Like you've already like, I need to move on. Like this is happening. And, you know, he's like, okay. Is he okay with y'all like moving on? Is he?
He's not.
Okay.
But like, so he was like, look, like, he took me to Applebee's out of all places. He was like,
What?
yeah. He was like, do you want to be with
specials
me?
in the summer.
Yeah. He was like, do you want to be with me? And I was like, honestly, like, no. But like, I'm an honest person. Like, you asked me, I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
And he was like, honestly, no. And he was like, so what are we doing? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I put myself in a situation. Like, I was pregnant. I decided to marry you. Like I'm willing to just put up with what I got. Like, I don't, like, I care for him. I don't hate him. But I would hate to get to that point.
Yeah.
So he was just like, well, what are we doing together? Like, and I was like, I mean, and he was like, well, we'll just break up and then we'll see like the whole divorce thing. And I was like, okay. And Xavier and I have a really good working relationship. He was like, you need to go get those contracts. You need, like, he has pushed this ambulance company without like no title, no like higher pay grade or anything. He just sees a future in this ambulance company. Whereas originally Scott was supposed to run this ambulance company for me so I can move on, like go to med school and all that. But he was scared because he doesn't know anything about healthcare.
Sure.
But like, granted, we have like my sister and my brother-in-law.
Yeah. You'll have a great support system. You have everything that he needs, like, to get his ass going. But
so it's not like he would be like, it's not like you would throw him in the pool and say just swim if you don't know how to swim.
Not at all. Exactly.
Okay.
Not at all. You know, and so not like what my parents did to me with this ambulance company. They were like, we bought you after I came back from Tucson. They were like, here's this ambulance company, like, have fun. And I was like, I've never even been in an ambulance. Like, okay.
What do I know about this?
Exactly.
But you learn,
And so,
trial and error. So
exactly.
it takes some,
but I got
change.
my EMT within like a month and a half. I took my test. Like, I was like, okay, they gave me this. I took it and went running. Granted, I don't know much about administration, about EMS companies. And
Sure.
it's a cutthroat kind of situation. But with Xavier, like, because he's been in like EMS and firefighting for like 15 years and he knows this, he knows the people, he knows the system. And so he actually, so I guess like how we got involved was I had a supervisor at the time. And he kept bothering the supervisor to get hired at my company.
So he wasn't working for you at the time?
No, like when I did my clinicals, like I saw him during my clinicals, but like when I was doing my clinicals, I was also pregnant at the time. Like I was barely showing, and so like
But still pregnant.
yeah, you know, so I was just like, yeah, like no one's gonna be interested in me, right? But I wasn't even looking for anyone at the time because I was like, Scott was still coming from Scotland. It was all like
you were
new and
smitten with
fresh
the
and
Scottish
stuff.
guy, so
Exactly, you know. And so he comes, so he gets hired at my company, and it wasn't until like 3-4 months later, I don't know, we decide, like, I had to jump on a truck with Xavier, and I was like, I don't have any of my uniform on, like, so he takes me home in the unit to get dressed. I was like, I'll be ready in 5, and he was like, yeah, you're right, you're a female. It's gonna take you forever, you know. I came back in 4 minutes.
yeah.
And he was like, oh man. I was like, I don't think you realize, but like I'm basically a female with like a male with
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is, like, the whole like ride took like, we were at that doctor's office for like, I don't know, an hour and a half or whatnot. But I just got over being like sick from like, I don't know, the flu or whatnot. So I got really weak and I couldn't really lift the patient. And he was like, you got to go to the gym. And I was like, you're right. I really do got to go to the gym because I'm postpartum. I still don't feel happy about myself. I gained like all this weight and blah, blah, blah. And so the next day I texted him because he has been going to the gym lately or whatnot. And I was like, hey, you want to be my trainer? We go to the gym. I didn't think much of it. But I want to say like not too long, like after going to the gym, like he was like, I actually like you. And I was like, really? Like, and he was like, yeah, like I'm actually like really cheesy over you. And I thought that was just him, like personality wise. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know. I just caught me off guard. And I was just like, but at the time, like Scott and I already like,
Already drifting.
yeah, already drifting apart. And so, and not that I was looking at other guys already. Like there was this other like medic that like he had a crush on me, but I was like, yeah, like we could, I guess, like be cool, like. But I would like stomp all over his heart because I feel like you have sex with him the next day, he's gonna be like, I love you, right? So I was like, Whereas like with Xavier, I was like, it's complicated because he's not technically married, but he has a baby mom with like 3 kids and they live together.
Wow.
You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So
Okay,
that's where
so,
I was like, I was real
with-
confused.
So is he with his baby mom? Like she thinks they're together, or like they just live together?
So
Like,
like,
you know, you can do that too. Like you can live in the same house because you want your kids to have both parents, right? Like people do that and just coexist. But then there's a difference when like you share a bed, you know? Like,
exactly. So like as we were like at the gym sessions we had, like honestly, like when I told him like, hey, we should go to the gym together so I can like lift heavy patients because I'm weak as shit, right? He would like not talk badly about her, but he like mentioned her, right? And I was like, okay, like at the time, like I was like, he's married with kids.
Yeah.
And when he told me he liked me or whatnot, I was like, then I found out like he's actually not married, but they do live together. They do share the same bed. They have 3 kids together and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But like, she is 28 now and he's 36.
Oh, okay.
So, but they met when she was 20 and he was, I guess, 28. And so like, I'm here like, girl, like you've been together for 8 years and there's still a ring. Anyway. So that's why I was like a little like hesitant, like, like, okay, like he likes me, but I'm probably just another Sacha.
Yeah, I was like, and then say interesting enough that he's actually like, he's seeking you out too. Because then if he's like seeking you out, then he's probably sought other people out too during the course of their, whatever you want to call it, relationship.
They were together for a long time too, right?
He's had other Sanchas, like he's mentioned before, you know. And so, like, I'm here, like, okay, like, this is just gonna be like a fling. I'll get over it, like the fling with that other like medic, like the fling with the other medic wasn't even like I liked him. It was like he liked me, and I was just like, meh. If I was like single and like during my slut phase, fine. other than the fact that he's my employee, right? But with Xavier,
You sound more conflicted. Like you have like, because there's like some feelings or something in there.
Yeah, it's
there's something.
There's a lot actually.
Yeah.
So as this fling goes on, I develop a lot of feelings for him and vice versa.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets complicated. Other than the fact, like, okay, I'm going through a divorce or whatnot. I don't want, like, because my dad is also medical director of the fire department he works at. I don't want him to be fucked over.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like scared, because not that my dad would do anything, but my mom is a vicious bitch.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And so anyway, like our situationship.
Yes.
Our situationship keeps like getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, like, and it's so odd, like how good we work together. He makes me want to be better, and he was like, you make me want to be better. He wants to like run this EMS company for me because I can't run this forever. I have to go be a doctor, and then whole Stark law, conflict of interest, whatever.
Yeah.
And so
you have a lot of conflicting feelings with this. Like I can just
I do.
tell.
Yeah, because I haven't felt this way with someone since like my first.
Yeah.
And it's because, like, okay, like, with Scott and my, like, college boyfriend and whatnot, like, I, like, knew in the back of my mind, like, I'm settling.
Yeah.
And then, like, I meet Xavier, and I have the same feelings with my first, and, like, the backstory, I guess, with my first, like, when we broke up, I thought, like, it like, sucked. It really sucked. And then we had a chance to get back together in college, and it didn't feel the same, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm never gonna fall in love again. And I went to a card reader and everything, and she was like, you missed your chance at love. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna be divorced 4 times. I'm just gonna accept it, right?
Yeah.
And then like,
okay, Kim Kardashian, I'm coming
exactly.
for you. I'm
The
accepting
Kim
it right
Kardashian
now.
of South Texas, right? Without the ass. And so I'm like, man. And then I meet Xavier, and he makes me want to be better. He's like, okay, yeah, you have that legacy from your parents, but you got to make your own legacy, and blah, blah, blah. Like, you're smart enough to be a doctor, like, and whatnot. And so he's pushed me actually to become a doctor before I was a little hesitant, because out of all the doctors I worked with, I want to say like 95% are not happy with the career they chose. And I was like, And so but I also feel kind of like bad for her.
The wife.
The wife, baby mom.
So
I don't
Baby
even
mama,
know.
whoever that
I don't
person
know.
is.
We're going to call her Cassandra.
Okay, Cassandra. Well,
So I
because,
feel-
that's a lot. Because, like, if she thinks that they're in, like, a committed relationship and they, like, share a bed, they shared 3 kids together, and then to know or, like, not know that her dude's been stepping out on her this whole time, like, yeah, that makes me feel for her, too, a little bit. But, like, what's the end game with him, though? Like, if, like, you're having all, like, the butterflies and the... Which I can totally understand, because I feel like you see qualities in him that you wanted to see in your husband, like the drive that he has and his ambition and wanting to do better and keep chasing after something, right? Like those are qualities that you wish your husband would have had. But like his reality, like your reality is you're going to be divorced, right? Like you are going to be free to make a decision to be with him or not. But like, is that going to be his reality? Like, is he going to, you know, leave his situation and all of that to like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I feel kind of for the both of y'all in that situation.
And that's where I'm conflicted, you know, because like I don't want to replace her. She's like the mother of his 3 kids, you know, and like that's never my intention. And I guess that's where like I'm okay with polyamory or polygamy is illegal, but like I don't have to marry him. He's not married technically. I don't have to marry him, but like
to be like a throuple, like that y'all would know about each other. That would be y'all would know about each other then. You and the baby mama being okay that the other person is there.
Exactly. And so like honestly, like if like it would really work out if she accepted like me and him, like it would be a third income coming in, and it's a doctor's income. And she could get like I know she wanted like the Toyota Highlander, or I don't know, some like expensive Toyota car, and I was like, fuck that, like just get the X5. Yeah, like get the X5 because it's safer, and I know because my mom has one and it's just saved her life before. And so like it's like it depends if she would accept that. I'm okay with like sharing him because like that's the mother of his 3 kids.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not really trying to replace her. Whatever they had, like I respect. I like if she either wants me really involved or not, like I preferably not because I'm not really like a kid's kid. Like he got 3 kids. And the 2 youngest ones are like a year apart and they're boys, and I hear they're really crazy. You know, but I'm happy with whichever.
Yeah, with what you have right now, I think as long as all parties involved are okay with what it is, I guess.
And again, with this whole like being an only child, independence, like I don't mind having like my own house and just being like alone. Like I don't have to see him every day.
Yeah, and then you and your daughter doing your own thing, and you know, got it. Okay,
exactly. And so it's just kind of like, I guess it's a new thing now, like this whole polyamory, polygamy. I don't know what everyone call it.
I think the polygamy one. There's also a show on TLC called Sister Wives. This is where most of my educational TV comes from. TLC. There's so many shows on there now. But yeah, so I think that one is they're all married to the husband but not each other.
Yes, and they have like 5. He has like 5 or something,
he's got like
right?
4 wives or something. He's got like 4 wives and like 27 kids or something. And I'm like, who's got time for that? That does not sound like any kind of fun for the man at all. Like, so much to go on. I don't know, but I mean, whatever floats your boat. Like, if you're cool with that, then that's cool. If she's cool with that, then that's cool too. But like, is he gonna be cool with that? Does he see himself as like a one-woman dude? Does he like? Is he okay with you just being the Sancha and not like actually like his wife actually knowing, or not his wife, but you know, actually like knowing about y'all? Like, there's so many questions.
Yeah, it's just again, it happened all real fast, but we like she's kind of mentioned it to him, like, if you have someone, I don't want to know, keep it out of the house. And he like never brought it up, and he was just like, she keeps bringing it up, and I don't know. And
so she probably does to some extent.
She probably does know to some extent because, and Rap was there. We met at a restaurant.
Oh, that was a fun night.
And he was there with her.
Okay.
And apparently he got like real nervous or whatnot, like once I got there. So I guess she has a hint, and I don't know. I was just there because I haven't seen Rap in a while, and so I was just there to drink and have fun, like with or without them, like preferably without them. Yeah, because I wasn't ready to like meet her.
No, you were a bundle of nerves.
Oh like, man, I was like,
politely.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how I was gonna act.
Just kept on bringing shots after shots. All right, let's get the shots, guys.
Yeah, I got real fucked up that night.
Oh gosh. But you saw him there with his wife or girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. And
they were on the other side.
Yeah. We weren't close or anything. No. Like,
but like you saw him and he definitely saw you.
Yeah, we made eye contact. I want to say like only twice.
And then there was some physical contact when he was walking to the restroom. Yeah.
So I was at the bar to get more shots, and then he went to the restroom and he came back and he like graced my like mid back, and I was like, oh my god. And I was like, this is not happening.
So as he was walking from the restroom, he walked by the bar and his hand slowly grazed your back as he was walking
towards her.
Towards her.
And I was like, motherfucker, right? I'm like, and then he like tells me like, come over and meet us, but I was already drunk, and I was like, I cannot, because I'm gonna say something stupid and she's not gonna like me.
Yeah.
Okay, like fast forward, we actually meet karaoke night at Applebee's.
Oh gosh.
All right. One thing about this city that we live in is Applebee's is a huge hit.
Karaoke night, I don't know what to say.
Applebee's is like all the rage down in the valley.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's bad.
There's a DJ and everything. It would
Yeah.
stay open
That's
till like 2
that's an
o'clock.
upscale Applebee's, though. I'm gonna
Oh.
tell you, because the Applebee's I've ever been in do not have a DJ or karaoke. So maybe y'all are
It gets
winning the
lit.
Applebee game there. I don't know.
Maybe.
All right, so
And I'll
anyway.
like meet her for the first time, but I'm also like getting fucking trashed. And so I like half of it, I don't really know what I told her, but another backstory. There's this girl in high school that I've always had a crush on, and nothing ever like emerged from it. And then until recently, she decides to like. She doesn't actually know what to call it, but she's been, I guess, experimenting or whatnot. She just had a girlfriend that she broke up with, and I was like, wow, like. And
timing.
I know, right? And she was there, right? Because I invited her to like karaoke at BB's, right? Because that's where it's at. And so, like, I'm talking to Cassandra, like, I'm gonna tell you something personal. The girl next to me, I've had a crush on for like ever, and blah blah blah. Anyway,
Wow.
exactly.
First time that
I'm also really drunk at this time. You know, I'm really drunk, but not drunk enough to tell her like I'm
Let me
fucking
tell her a
your
different
baby
secret.
daddy.
I need a
You know,
different-
right? You know, and so next morning I find out she don't like me.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Cassandra.
so sad.
Damn.
I know, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, yes, I'm drunk, but like."
Is it because you told her that you had like a crush on a girl? Is that why? Or
I have no idea, but like she apparently told him like, oh, it's because you looked at her with like fuck me eyes, and he was like, I was too drunk to even look at my own like what's like 3 inches in front of me. Like, what are you talking about? You know?
But then she also thought that you asked him to take you home because you were too drunk.
No, he had no idea because I was too drunk, and I asked her like, will you guys take me home? And I was like, well, obviously you're driving. Will you take me home? But I joked about it like because I knew like my 2 other friends would take me home.
yeah.
And honestly, she don't even know where I live.
No.
You know, and so I was like, all right. But she like made it seem like I kept asking him, and he was like, I couldn't
maybe
even
she was
hear you
drunk
guys. No, she wasn't. She had 2 frozen margaritas like for a good 2 hours. Yeah. And so I don't know. She don't like me, and I like it really bothered me at first because I kind of wanted her to like me because it would just make things easier,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
So are you sad because I feel like now this means there's like no like polyamory
transfer of
relationship
throuple.
going to happen.
Right.
There's no chance for that based on what you just
Yeah, I
said.
feel like it, but you know, like after thinking about it, you know, like I don't really care. Like, again, it would make things easier, but I don't really care that she doesn't like me because, like, I know I have him. But I'm also like really kind of scared because I haven't felt like this with a guy in a long time, and I don't know if he like because he mentioned like I never thought you would like me because you're like up here. And I'm down here because I'm like some stupid firefighter. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, honestly, if someone were to collapse, there's a chance of you saving that person more than me.
Exactly.
And so, like, the whole, like, does he just like me because I'm like the Hilton of South Texas, you know? Or, like, does he really like me for me?
Well, the thing when you were doing clinicals, right? Like nobody knew
Yeah,
who
he
you
didn't
were.
know who I was. And then he, like
And
like,
so you were
apparently
going through the
that time
same-
he was like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
and
There's a chance he doesn't like.
He
It's
liked you
not
for you.
because of it's not because of like your family name or like what your family can bring to the table. It's like about you. So, wow, that's a lot of conflicting. There's a lot of going on. There's a lot going on there.
It's a really crazy
Yeah.
story, and I'm like, no, like I at first I was just like guarding like my heart because I was just like, man, this might just be a fling or whatnot. But as it time like continues and like proves me, like I don't know how many times he said blah blah marry me, like a few times, and I was like, whoa, you know, like, and I'm here like.
But would he
Like,
really
he's-
though? Like if he said it like that just in passing, like do you think he would really like act on that and be like, yes, I'm just gonna leave her and I want us to be together?
Well, like he's like, I even have it saved on Snapchat. Like he was like, "You're gonna take my last name." Like I didn't even change my last name
You
with
got
Scott,
married.
like because my last name holds a lot of power. And so I'm like, what? Like, and like
You're like,
he's
no,
really
you're taking
determined.
my last name, bitch.
Like, exactly. Well, I told him like if we end up having like a kid together, like that kid's gonna have my last name, not his. And he's okay with that, oddly.
Oh wow.
Interesting.
Okay.
But like he'd rather have me like hyphenate his last name, like with me. Doesn't have to be with the kid, but like with me and whatnot. Like the fact that, like, man, he's also told me like he's had quite a few Sanchas. Like, so we're going to San Antonio tomorrow for like 3 days.
That's right. That's right.
You're going with him?
I mean, I got like some pre-med conference to go to, but it's not really a pre-med conference. And he's going like there to say he has some class or whatever, but he was like, I've never like gone out of town with a Sancha.
Wow.
And he was like, you know, this is legit. I was like, oh shit. And like meeting like her and thinking like, man, like he's been with her for like, I guess like 8 years, you know, like
It's a long time.
Yep.
she must be really cool, like, or whatnot. Oh, scandalous backstory also. When he got her pregnant the first time, he supposedly got some other chick pregnant.
Oh,
but the
shit.
other chick lied about it and actually wasn't his.
Oh,
Anyway,
gosh.
I know, exactly.
Like, that was such a roller coaster right there.
I know, right? So, like, he obviously chose, like, Cassandra over the other chick, you know? And so that's why I was like, well, what does, like, he like about her?
That's made him stay with her for all those years.
Yeah, like 8 years, have 3 kids. You know, like,
Yeah.
what, like, and so when I met her, I felt like it was kind of like pulling teeth to get her to talk. Like, we had some things in common, but, like,
You're still
I don't
trying
know.
to figure it out, too. Like, what's made
Exactly.
him stay around this whole time and all that. Jeez,
Exactly.
so much stuff going on.
oh, man.
So, like, in all retrospect of this, now knowing, like, the whole backstory of everything, like, you and your husband, like, how y'all met, like, what kind of led y'all into being married? Like, aside from, like, was there something that you would, like, was marriage in your box? Like, I'm going to get married one day. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, was it one of your steps, your life steps? Like, I'm
Not
gonna
at
meet
all.
somebody, we're gonna get married, we're gonna have babies. Okay.
No,
So
not at all.
Like, so you would have just been like, doing your own
I was gonna be a
thing.
career woman. Like,
yeah.
Like like if I was gonna get married, I probably would get divorced again like 4 times. Divorce
Okay.
number 1.
Yeah.
So that's where I was, because like even you know like people get like baby fever and whatnot. Like I never got that, and so when I gave birth to Charlie, I didn't cry. I didn't like, and then I was like, oh, like it's gonna come afterwards, like this whole like, because my sister's super protective with my niece, and I was like, it's gonna come. Like she's already a year and it hasn't come. Like I'm just not meant to be one of those.
Like, you love
Oh my
her.
God,
And
I
everything.
love her and I want her like the best for her, but I'm not gonna be protective. I'm not gonna be like.
Because he grew. I mean, from what I've known, you've always been independent, not just because.
So I
kind of
prefer
you had to
cats
be.
over dogs because it's easier to take care of them.
Yeah,
you can leave them for 3 days
Yeah.
and it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
So
and
it's-
so that's that whole like ordeal. And so where he's completely different, Scott's like,
He's totally dependent. He's totally a dog.
yeah, I can't like
person.
before like before like I couldn't like he couldn't choose like an outfit without like my opinion. He's like he kept asking me for permission. Like, can I go with my only friend that I've met here a whole year? You know, I'm like, dude, go. Like,
Yeah.
just tell me if I have to be home or not. You know, like that's it. And so I was real annoyed about that, and like the fact that he didn't take advantage of like he was dealt a new hand of cards,
A good hand of cards.
like a really good hand, and I was really disappointed in that. Whereas like Xavier was like, okay, like I have this hand of cards, but I'm gonna add these cards.
Yeah, he's a hustler. He wants to like.
Exactly.
Like, I'm gonna use all
Yeah.
the cards I have in my deck because this is what's available to me. Like,
Yep.
yeah, okay. So, like, was there so if like you hadn't had met the Scott, and, you know, had the baby and everything. Like, is there something, like, do you see, like, anything in your marriage that you would have changed and, like, made it different? Like, that would there have been, if something happened, like, if he was someone who was motivated and someone who, you know, you saw potential in him and ambition, would you still, like, be wanting to be married to him? Or do you think still, like, nah, I think that this is just the end of our story, you know?
So,
like, was there anything that he could have changed or any way that this could have gone different that you would still be married to him? Or is this, like I said, this is just, this the end of the story, and that's okay too, but just curious.
So, like, I know, like he was going to be depressed and, like, this culture shock. I understood all that. And the fact that it still kept continuing, like, if that part, like, got better, like, earlier on, and he got his shit together, basically, and wasn't going to depend on me or my parents, yeah, I probably would have stayed with him. I wouldn't have, because he would have taken over that ambulance company. And I wouldn't have met Xavier. I wouldn't have, you know, and so, or I would just be like, I am so in love with Scott, like, my mind wouldn't have opened to other opportunities. Because before Xavier, there was that other medic, too. Yeah. Where I was like, man, like, I'd rather be with this medic than Scott, because this medic also has ambitions and whatnot. But he also wore his heart on his sleeve, so that didn't work out.
No,
Sure.
Yeah. So, like, even now, like, that he's trying to be better. He wants to own his own barber shop. He wants to go to barber school, and he wants to, like, be better. I will always see him as this, like, weak little boy.
Okay.
And not that he's a mama's boy, but, like, he just, like, at 28, he was just okay with, not just depending on me. He was just coasting. And I needed someone to not just push me, but push themselves. And Xavier brought that.
Sure.
But as much as I get to know Xavier, it's really weird because we like the same things, and it's like he'll be thinking the same thing I'm thinking, and I'm like, get the fuck out of my head, you creep. And I guess that's the thing. And so even if I met Xavier or not, I don't think it would work with me and Scott because we're just not compatible.
No, you guys are too different.
Yeah,
well,
but
you didn't
like
have a lot of time either. Like
exactly, you know, and like I don't mind being friends with him, like and whatnot. But like the feelings I have for Xavier is not as strong as like it's way stronger than I had with Scott, and it's weird. And there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen when it comes to raising my daughter because there's my parents. And I guess they're trying to make up for not being there with my daughter. And I don't mind that because they're not really close to my niece. And I know it hurts my parents that they're not close to my niece. And I wanted, like, at least my daughter to be close to my grandparents. Like, my daughter's favorite person is my dad.
Yeah, I saw that today.
Oh, man.
No.
She, like, loves him, like, always wants to be carried by him. If if my dad is holding her and I hug my dad, she flips the fuck out. Oh man, it's so cute. I love it. And so that's, I guess, like, yes, she made things complicated. Yes, like I didn't want her in the first place, and yes, this whole like strong motherly bond never happened. But I still want the best for her, and I feel like because again the whole social differences, but like with me and Scott, like I want her, like, she's gonna play piano. She's gonna do all these, like, musical instruments. She's gonna play sports. She's gonna learn some kind of martial art to
just like
defend
you did
herself, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, what if she don't want to do that? She doesn't know what she wants. Like, we'll try it the first 3 months.
Yeah.
See how it goes. You know,
but
like,
you also you want her to be like to know different things and
expose her
to be cultured and understand like all the different things and to learn how to hustle too. Like I just like from talking to you this little bit can definitely tell that you have that quality about you. And so I would hope or I would imagine that you would want that for your daughter too. So I could see that being conflicting for you being with Scott, like being her dad, having like no hustle, no ambition, and for her to see that, like, you know, it's hard to be a strong female these days, you know, and you want to be like a strong female for her and to her to understand, like, that's not how you get ahead in life. you know? Like, you've got to constantly be chasing something. Can't coast. So, but again, that's her dad too, and you can't necessarily change that one about it. But like, I can understand that piece of it too. Like, you wanting for her to understand that that's not how you like get ahead.
Exactly. You know, and so like that's where like we have like conflicting parenting kind of situations, and so like his like he's very close to his family. Like they spend like Christmas together and whatnot. Like I used to work at the ER during Christmas because it was slow and I was going to get paid like time and a half. You know, and my parents were okay with that. Like, you know, like it's not like you're out going shooting up heroin. You know, like that's what they were like. She's not a drug addict. She's a workaholic. That's fine. And where he's like, what, you're working on Christmas Day? I was like, well, in Hispanic culture, Christmas Eve is where we do all this stuff, like opening the presents and whatnot. And he was like, what? It's Christmas Day? And getting he's white from Scotland. And I was like, okay, we'll do that this year. But normally I work during Christmas. Yeah. I always pull the Jew card, even though I'm not Jewish. My last name is Jewish. But, you know, so that's how it works out. And that's when I realized, like, man, like, we're going to be arguing about all these things because he's going to be like, you have to be there for every birthday. You have to be there for, what if the birthday is like on a Monday or a Tuesday? You know, like, we're going to want to celebrate on the weekend before or after. Or he's like on the day of and all these different holidays and
so you'll just have like a lot of different like conflicting cultural differences and all the above.
And one of them was like, you know, in Europe they have really good public transportation. If like, oh, we're all going to dinner, they have to know like 2 days ahead, whereas my parents are different because they're used to marketing and whatnot. They will get lunch or dinner paid for, but they're so used to eating out. And where my parents are like, we don't have any plans, we're going to Papados, we're going to some Asian restaurant, we're going to Milano's, or I don't know, whatever restaurant. And they'll tell me an hour ahead. Like, it'll be like 4 and be like, we're going at 6 or 7, but I'll call you to let you know. And he was like, I can't go. Like, why not? Well, I need to know more ahead of time because he's so used to that.
Wow. He's just used to different, like,
Exactly. And I don't blame him, but it's just like my parents are spontaneous like that. And honestly, I don't care if I go in basketball shorts and a t-shirt. I'm going to go get free food.
Thank you.
Is he wearing basketball shorts right now, by the way?
Yeah, and a t-shirt. I'm wearing pajamas. So. And so, like, it got so bad, like my parents didn't even want to invite us anymore because he kept saying no. And I felt bad going without him because I would come back and be like, can't believe you went out with me. And then I'm like, but it's free food.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And so I was really like upset. Like, my parents stopped inviting me because he doesn't even, you know? And then I was like, I started to get less of connection with my parents.
And you don't want that to suffer. Like,
And then he would use the baby as an excuse. I'm like, she's really good at restaurants. She doesn't. As long as there's fries or pasta or something in front of her, she'll eat, and she's real chill. And that's where I was like, where my parents and I bond is at restaurants. Like, although we talk about business a lot, but that's our family dinner. Because my mom's too busy to cook at home. My dad doesn't cook for shit. You know, and I'm not going to cook at home because I don't know if my dad's going to make it or not, or my mom's going to make it or not, because you never know. Whereas a restaurant's reliable. In 20 minutes, you get your meal. And so that's where, like, it's like, man, like, I'm really trying not to resent him. I don't want to get to that point. So let me break it off before I get to that point.
Sure.
And so I was like, I need to get this ambulance company down. I need to, because this is like Charlie's legacy. Like, I need to get my shit together too. And that's where Xavier came in. And now I'm like, Xavier can have the company for all I know because I trust him. And I'm here like, why? Just because, like, I'm 25, like, why am I still trying to keep this, like, marriage going? Not even marriage going, but, like, trying to be nice to him. Or I feel bad that he moved from Scotland to here, right? And I, like, but it's also his choice because I got pregnant and I was like, well, I'm pregnant. I'm not doing an abortion. I'm going to have my sister adopt. but he was just so invested, and I couldn't do that to him, you know?
Yeah.
But,
So is
like,
he going to stay here? Is that like his plan?
So, last few days, he finally accepted my feelings for Xavier. Mm-hmm. He was pissed. Just
Understandably.
yeah. I was like, I don't mean to hurt you, but you know, like, shit happens.
Yeah.
And so he's right now drinking at a bar trying to fuck bitches.
Okay.
I don't blame him. I'm here like he downloaded Tinder like after our Applebee's like incident, you know.
Wow, okay.
Two of my friends were like, he's on Tinder, and I was like, we're getting divorced. It's okay.
Yeah.
They're like, okay. And so he's like, obviously he's upset about it, and I understand, like, whatnot. But, like, he can't really also be surprised because I also cheated on him in Vegas. But I guess because this is emotional and not sexual, like
Sure.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why that hurts a lot. But, like, I also don't feel bad because, again, with the card lady and everything, I never thought I would feel this way ever again.
Yeah.
And I accepted it. And it's just like, should I just let this go? Or should I just be like, no, he should be faithful to Cassandra. I should really just focus on my career and focus on being a mother. But
Yeah, it's
I
a lot.
hate that I like feel for him so
Yeah.
much, you know, like.
So do you want like Scott to be like involved with like a co-parenting and all? I mean, that's going to be a whole nother conversation, I'm sure. Like,
Yeah, I'm willing to be like civil. Like, I am not gonna pull the whole like Texas loves mothers card. Like, I could easily get him deported and like get divorced, get him deported, and
But that's not you.
but that's not me because like as much as like I was disappointed on him as like a husband, he's a really good father.
got it.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And I
see
couldn't
a
do
lot.
that to her. I couldn't do that to him. And so, but he also reacts very suddenly with like any little thing with me. And so, like I say, like when we were at Applebee's, or like when he asked me, like, do you want to be with me? I said no, and he was like, well, we got a divorce. I got to tell my parents tomorrow. Like, blah, like, you know, like
Oh, wow.
I was like, these things take time.
Yeah.
Let's set a plan first before we tell everyone, because then what if that plan doesn't work and we still end up together? Like,
Yeah.
and then we just look unstable,
Yeah.
and then everyone's gonna be judging us and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Like, just wait until we have everything together. But he's not like that.
Yeah.
The first person he told was my mother.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
she's a very reactive lady,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
she was really hard, like on like she magnified everything by 20 times, and I told him like, don't tell my mom. He still told her, and he was like, it's because I have no one else to talk to you. And I was like, are you kidding? You have your own mother.
yeah.
You have your sister.
Yeah.
You have that one friend you made here, and you decided to tell my sister and my mother, and
Yeah.
so everyone was attacking me in the corner before I could even say anything, and
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? They know their truth, but they don't know my side of the story. And then
Yeah.
as it went on, my mom was like, actually, my mom and my sister were like, you actually never said your side of the story. What's your side of the story? And then they were like, oh wow, like he wants things guaranteed, and that's not life. Life isn't guaranteed.
Yeah. There's
And
like
so-
a whole lot of other stuff that has to happen too, because like the whole immigration and
Yeah.
so this is not going to be like a short and sweet type of a thing. This is going to
No,
be
it's a long.
It
Yeah.
is not even just because like the whole like social difference, but it was also the when he asked me if I still wanted to be with him at Applebee's, I went and made a deal on a house townhome that's really like 42-second walk from my ambulance company. And I didn't think it was going to go through because my sister said it takes like 3 months. It took a month and a half to get that townhome. And so, but the thing is, when I was trying to get a mortgage, they were like, are you married? And I said, yes. like, and then they're like, oh, he needs to sign too because you guys are married. And I was like, that's fine, it's fine. He didn't want to say. Then he was like, he was so pissed about the whole like divorce thing and whatnot. He was like, I'm not gonna sign those papers. I don't want my name on something that I'm not gonna live in. And I was like, are you kidding me? I already put $1,000 for I don't know what. I'm a first time homeowner, so I was like, okay. And then he was like, I'm not gonna sign it. And I was like, if you don't fucking sign it by like 2 days, then I have to pay another $1,000, like get a divorce. So it's just me. And come your residency renewal from a year from now, they might deport you because you're not married to a U.S. citizen anymore. And so he signed it because he was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to get this townhome with or without you. So it's better with you because then a year from now we can still stay married or whatnot. Like I even told him, like, you can still live in this townhome with me. I don't care. Like, I'm willing to be civil about this. But he's really hard-headed. So he was like, no, like, fine, I'll live with you and blah, blah, blah. But like in the time between like putting the offer on the house to closing, that's when like the whole me and Xavier thing like
Came
and he
to
was
light.
just like, well, I don't want him coming around. And I was like, what are you talking about? You know, because he doesn't go by his name Xavier. He goes by like a nickname. And so he doesn't know his real name. My
Probably
Scott
for
doesn't
the
know his real
best.
name. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what happened. It's just like,
Yeah. That's a lot.
Very
It's just going to be,
complicated.
it's
That
going
is
to be
a
a
lot.
long process. Well, like, and then one of the things that, so like Rap and I really thought that, you know, he knows you. I have at least a few friends that are divorced already. And like you know, we're 32 and they've been, it's not like they just got divorced.
I'm 33 now.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Congratulations. Congratulations
No,
for turning
no,
into the
no.
older. But no, like, so, but I'm saying they've been divorced for a while. It's not like it just happened yesterday. So we're like thinking that there's like the rate of like divorce is going up a lot, you know, like millennials are doing that. But we've been actually reading like some articles that it's like the opposite. Like that millennials are actually staying like married longer, and which was really eye-opening for me because I would have never guessed that. I would have thought it was like the opposite because like I said, we both know like a handful of people who've been divorced already. So, but it's saying like one of the things is that people aren't getting married anymore. Like they're just cohabitating, right? So like, and you know, we have friends like this too, that they just live together. They're not married, but they're like in a committed relationship, right?
Yeah,
So
two
like,
dogs.
So
like if they if they are not together anymore, then technically they're not divorced, right? Because they were never married to begin with.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's that, and then like people are like, you know, we talk a lot about the old school love, right? Like getting married and doing that when you're young, getting married and having kids when you're young. And so I think that that's what you have is like the spectrum of people thinking that that's how it's supposed to be. So they get married when they're younger, have kids when they're younger, but then as they're growing in different directions. So that's why like the divorce rate, you know, our friends, that's why they've gotten divorced. Whereas like friends that we've had getting married later are like fighting hard to stay together, you know, like because they fought hard like career wise early and are trying to be more settled and all that, and like basically check all these boxes before they even decide they want to get married. So it's just been like a lot of interesting, like I would have never thought that. And so just really interesting things that have been happening, but super awesome of you to share everything. That's a whole lot. Like I definitely wish you.
it is a huge thing, but
Yeah.
like the whole like again the divorce rate. I think it's like the reason why, other than the whole immigration thing, why I married Scott was because again my dad being the Adventist,
Sure.
this shotgun wedding, and then so my dad was like, because again Scott went to my mom and my sister about this.
Yeah.
My dad, my mom went to my dad, and he was like, I didn't like he said like you didn't have to marry him, and I was like, what? I was pregnant.
Your dad said that?
Yeah, he said that.
It's like
exactly.
information I could have used.
Exactly, you know, and then I knew I had to marry him because the whole like immigration and Trump administration thing. Yes, he's Scottish, but whatever. And so when my dad said that, I was like, damn, like, I guess I could have done the K1 visa, but he wouldn't be there for the birth of his child. Like, all right. But, like, the reason really why I married Scott was because I thought my dad was going to be like, well, you got to marry him.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be easy for my dad to be like, yeah, she should marry him because she's happy and loves him. And I was
Not so much the case.
today, and so the whole, like, that's why I was kind of like, but for my dad to say you didn't have to marry him, I was like,
motherfucker.
Yeah, and I was like, wow. And then, like, talking to everyone in my family, like, you didn't have to marry him, you have to marry him. I was like, wow, like, this really could have been avoided.
Yeah. A lot could have been avoided.
Other than the immigration thing too. But, like, I don't mean, like, I don't want him deported. And so, like, yes, I'll still be married to him for a year until he gets 10-year residency. He just has 10 years to find someone else.
Damn.
Yeah.
Or I think it might change presidency, whatever. And so
Hopefully his Tinder game just kind of...
Exactly.
Right.
He still kept holding on to hope. And I'm just here like, and then I'm here thinking, like, man, the next 3 days in San Antonio, I have Xavier to myself.
Yeah, good luck
Gonna
with
be
that
a lot.
too, by
I
the
know,
way.
right? It's like, I wish you all the luck. And we need updates, like, whenever, like, what's happening and all that.
Episode 20, I'll come back like, hey, remember me?
You'll have to come back on and tell
I'll
us
be
how
like,
this all ends up playing.
I got like 3 kids.
You'd be like, well, guys, we're all living in the same house now, and I have a schedule of who sleeps when. Like, oh, man.
Which totally happens in the valley still, by the way.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a
so
typical
funny.
Valley girl.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, Becky.
Becky with the good hair.
Becky,
Yeah.
I'm trying to know what it is.
I mean, I am the other woman, so.
That is so true.
Oh,
That is
that's
so
a
true.
good analogy.
Yeah.
Exactly why I chose Becky.
But, holy shit, what a fucking episode. That was a lot of twists and turns.
A lot. I was not
Yeah.
expecting a lot. That was a lot of roller coaster, like, Astroworld shit. Like, it was a lot of
Yeah, like something
different
I didn't
things
even know,
going
like,
on.
Damn.
It was a lot. Like, oh my gosh.
Thanks for
Like,
sharing.
The last few months are crazy. I'm not going to say, like, all these millennials are like me, but, like, if I were to give a tip to millennials, wait until you're 30 to get married. Have your shit together. Know yourself first. Be comfortable with yourself alone. And then you can get married.
I think that's some good
I like
words.
that.
Some
I
good
like
words.
I like that. Well, shit, I guess until next week.
Yep.
Next week. Next week on Becky's Super Short Show. Which is not that short.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, I guess we'll be talking to you later.
Join us on our social media channels. Blah, blah, marry me on Instagram and Facebook. And then hit us on our email. If you have ever been on this situation, I think we'd be interested to find out. Contact at blahblahmarryme.com. If you have any other stories, some other roller coaster stories, I think we'd all be interested to know if you've had a story like Becky's. So yeah, guys, thanks for joining in, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. And then, like Scott, don't be a little bitch.
Oh, dang. Don't be that's a good one, too.
Don't be a little bitch.
Don't be a little bitch.
I think I'm in love with you.
You love me? Yeah, yeah.
I think I'm in love with you.
You love me? Yeah, yeah.
I just have to finish my Tang slash
You know who's
pre-workout.
going to be bad about this whole podcast?
Huh?
You know who's going to be bad about this whole podcast?
Who? Him?
Xavier.
Xavier?
Yeah.
I was going to say, does he know that you've been talking, or that you were going to talk about this?
Yes, but he
Like-
thought I was going to, like, pour my whole heart out about him.